hello there, and welcome to Uneven. It is Friday afternoon, and I wanted to record an episode about the weekend and just see if I could do a really quick one, get it reviewed really quick, and pop it out here before the close of day. And so we're going to do that really fast. As you might be able to tell, I'm sitting out on my front porch today and listening to the birds sing, which is such a wonderful, uplifting sound. It's the sign of new things to come and the excitement of rebirth with the buds on the trees and the flowers coming up and all the stuff that goes with that. And I thought it's a great setting for where I am right now. So I'm looking to my left and I see all the flowers dropping off the trees, the petals and stuff, because the leaves are now coming out, and I see a lady down here walking two dogs, a really short black one and a larger tan one, going by and heading down the trail to the park. And my dog's back inside, Murphy. I left him inside, so he's inside still sleeping in there right now. But I wanted to record something a little more uplifting and positive today about the weekend, and maybe some tips that we can all use to make the weekend work for us. You know, so that at the end of the weekend we feel like, hey, that was good. That was good. And so I thought, I'm just going to rattle off some tips. I don't even know how many right now because I'm pulling these from the top of my head. Okay? Hopefully maybe in the title I'll put the number of tips or something that I came up with. But I haven't done really a tip thing or a countdown thing, of the 10 best clues for reducing anxiety. Well, I've done that before in some videos, but not on this podcast. But I thought that would be an interesting topic, and I just want to do a few here, keep it short, and so maybe get us to head off into the weekend on a good footing. Is that the term? Is that the right term? On take the right first step. Me and my cliches, I never quite remember them exactly right, and so I bastardize them sometimes, and I'm truly sorry about that. But right now, what I'm sitting out here is it's starting to turn a little cool. It was a beautiful sunny day today, hit about 60, 65. But these big clouds are rolling in, and I know right behind it is, I think we're supposed to get some heavy rain. I think about 2 inches of rain over the next 2 days. So my Saturday is going to be pretty wet. And then Sunday, my wife comes home, which I'm really excited about. And she's been gone for a week down in Tampa, helping out a friend. And I can't wait for her to come home on Sunday. I'm hoping she'll come home on Sunday if everything goes well with what's going on down there. So I'm looking forward to that. So part of my weekend's already decided for me, and part of that is cleaning up the house. I've been batching it for a week, so there's a little bit of house cleaning to do, of course, before she gets home. But the weather is a good way to kick off tip number one. And tip number one is, if you can, and if it's decent, get outside. Go outside. Go do something. Even if it's a short walk, go do something. In fact, I'm going to stand up right now, and I'm just going to walk a little bit here. Just outside in front of my house. But get outside, especially for those of you on the northern hemisphere, which is turning into spring. Go outside and enjoy the spring weather that's coming your way, and all the beauty that is around you, and the wildlife and the flowers and the trees and the bushes and the people coming out who have been sometimes sequestered for so long inside. Go and enjoy that, experience that. Put a smile on your face if you can, and say hi to some people. But get out. Don't just say hold up. If you can, get out of the house, go outside, expose yourself to nature. I don't mean expose yourself in the literal sense of expose yourself. I mean be exposed to nature and enjoy it and suck it in and enjoy the shit that's out there, the good stuff, the stuff that this world is made of, and just have a good time. Tip number one. Tip number two is get out of your routine. And that's part of getting outside, maybe part of something else, but get out of your routine. That rut we've been in, that routine we've been in, that groove that's kept us doing the same thing time after time after time. And I say this because I do this all the time. I am more guilty of this than anybody. but do something to get out of your routine. Do something different this weekend. It can be small. Maybe it is that take that walk and get out in nature. Maybe it's going out to a ball game. Maybe it's going to a car show. Maybe it's going to see family or friends, or your nephew's graduation. Whatever it is, do something different today this weekend that you don't do every weekend. Change it up a little bit. If we do that, I think things get a little bit better. Tip number 3. Big one here, tip number 3. Do something with somebody. Don't spend the whole weekend alone. I don't care how this is. I mean, it might be if you have a spouse or kids or parents or whatever, or family, spend time with them, or at least even call them and have a conversation. But spend time with family, spend time with friends, spend time with your neighbor, spend time with a colleague, talk to somebody, even if it's just on that walk you take. You went outside and you struck up some conversation with a neighbor or something. Whatever it is, expose yourself. Again, I say expose yourself. I could get in trouble if I'm telling people to go and expose themselves to other people, because that can be taken the wrong way. But you know what I mean, is expose yourself to other people. Have that social connection, the face-to-face. I am not talking about Facebook, I'm not talking about LinkedIn, I'm not talking about Instagram, I'm not talking about TikTok, I'm not talking about any of social media or anything online. I'm talking face-to-face. And if you can't do that, at least call somebody on a phone and talk to them. But hear the real voice, see the real face. Have that part of something. And if you already have somebody or people around you that are part of your life, then dedicate some time to spend with one of them or a group of them. Maybe it's your daughter. Then dedicate a couple hours to take your daughter to go out and do something that you know she enjoys and you enjoy and you can go do together. Take that minute, that second or whatever to go do something and have some fun. I get to pick up my wife at the airport on Sunday, and that is going to be my thing, and I'm really looking forward to it. But yesterday, on this exact note, I was feeling a little down. I've been batching it, been alone here, and sometimes I know I need that social push. So I went out to Chili's for lunch. Yes, my wife and I don't always eat at the fanciest restaurants or the trendiest or the local. We sometimes just like mainstream good old food, and I went to Chili's for lunch because I know I like their burgers and I like their Nashville hot chicken and I like a lot of the food they have here, and I know a couple people that work there. So I went there and I sat at the bar, and there's a gentleman sitting at the bar 3 seats down from me, and I overheard him talking to the bartender about he does car auctions, and I overheard that a little bit, and I said, after the bartender left, I said, "So you do car auctions?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, I used to do storage unit auctions and estate auctions," which I did with my father-in-law. And so we started talking on that. And we talked about how things change. And that morphed into talking sports like a lot of us guys do. And we started talking football, and we started talking basketball and the Nuggets and all kinds of things going on, and got back to talking about life. And for an hour, I sat there enjoying my burger and talking to some guy I'd never met before. Now, I know that's not easy for many of you, and I know for some of you on this podcast, striking up a conversation with a total stranger is way beyond you, and I get that. But trying to get yourself to the point where you can try to do that is something. And for me, it's easy. I have this extroverted, even though I'm an introvert, I have an extroverted streak, and I can do that. But I tell you, that made my day. Just talking to somebody, you got that social, and it helped me to come back home and get back to work. And I worked on my CV the rest of the day because I had to get that off for a speaking engagement that's coming up. And so I got that updated, I got some work done, but it helped motivate me and kept me going. And that's what I'm talking about, is find some place where you can have an interaction with another person, hopefully of a positive nature. That's tip number 3. Tip number 4, and I already talked about spend time with somebody else, and tip number 4 is spend some time on yourself. Doing something you want to do. Treat yourself. It could be ice cream at the Dairy Queen. It could be a fancy dinner out at, some four-star restaurant. It could be going off to Topgolf and hitting some balls. It could be, going to the opera or going to the ballet if you love that, or catching a musical or show that came through, or going to see a movie. Whatever it is, find maybe one thing that you truly enjoy and will look forward to doing, and go do that. Just go do that. You deserve it. You deserve that. You deserve that. So take care of yourself and go do something nice for yourself. But also spend a few minutes just being with yourself and quiet. Take a little time to yourself for just a touch of introspection, maybe a touch of meditation, maybe a touch of reading a good book or a self-help book or a novel or whatever it is that helps you center. Maybe it's taking a Epsom salt bath with a candle. Yes, I am guilty of that. I do that sometimes, and I love those things because it's meditative for me, and it pulls me back to my center. So find a little time to center to yourself, to do that, just to pull yourself in. So find something fun to go out into. It's tip 3. And tip 4 is find something also where you have even just 5 minutes to yourself to just shut down, clear your mind, and just be for a little while. And then tip 5, okay, hang on a second. Okay, I came up with tip 5, and this is one of the cornerstones of this podcast. One of the core values. We got balance and moderation, we know, as a core value. Honesty, sharing of flaws, all that kind of stuff. But another core value of this podcast, and this is tip 5 for the weekend, is to be kind. And by that I mean help somebody. Boy, that can do so much. Be kind to somebody. Go out of your way to do something nice for somebody else. It can be huge, but it can also be really minor. Reach out to your child's teacher and let that person know how much you appreciate what they've done for you. Reach out to a colleague at work. Reach out to a family member, or go to your coffee shop and buy coffee for the person behind you. Or strike up a conversation with somebody working at the ice cream counter when you're getting that ice cream that you really are needed and wanted to do because you want to treat yourself. And after you do that, talk to that person a little bit and say, how you doing? And maybe even give them a little extra tip for all their trouble. I guarantee you there are people in need around you every second of every day. And we know this because we're often those people. What would you want somebody to do for you when you're having a bad day? Even just smile at somebody today. As you're walking down the street, smile at someone and say, hello, good morning, have a nice day. It doesn't have to be much. It only takes a little bit to make somebody's day. Hey, this is Dee. Sorry for this brief interruption. I do need to remind everyone that this podcast is for informational purposes only and should never be considered medical, psychological, or professional health advice of any kind. If you or someone you know is dealing with significant mental health issues, please seek professional help. Resources can be found in our show notes and on our website at unevenpodcast.com. And now, back to the podcast. I think that wraps it up as I'm sitting here now watching some ants crawling along the concrete of our patio. They usually come out in the spring around here and sometimes pop up and then they go away. And just kind of watching them and seeing what they're up to. But those are the 5 tips I have They're just off the cuff. They're things that I think might help, and maybe one of those might help one of you. And if it does, then I'm glad I did this. Mostly, I just want to wish you a good weekend. If you're really struggling or suffering out there, I wish for you to have a little relief. Maybe a good day, maybe a good morning, maybe just even a good hour. If you're somebody who's just been psychotically busy and taking care of everybody around you, maybe you get to go off to that afternoon movie or get that ice cream. Or maybe you go out with some friends to the latest show that's coming through. Doesn't matter what it is. Just remember that life is now, and you need to take some time for yourself. Be kind to others, but also, and maybe even more importantly, be kind to yourself. I think that'll wrap it up. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you real soon. Thanks.